Union Budget on 1st February, we are taking stock of what can the budget do to make realty sector and home ownership in India more robust. In this segment, we focus on the incentives which the Finance Minister should consider to encourage more sustainable and green practices in real estate. Venkat, now we've got this ambitious target of going green or net zero by 2070, and our Prime Minister has made that commitment on a global platform. My question is, can the sector do it by themselves? I'm not talking about just the operational energy efficiency, which most of the good developers like you are already setting very stiff targets on. I'm looking at actually going far more circular than we are, including construction and the way we build.
Yes, to achieve that objective, the target that we are set by 2070, we need to make a lot of changes, hopefully from beginning this year, if the budget can provide for it. We need to move from using traditional materials to the new material which are environment friendly, like fly ash bricks, completely precast blocks, maybe reclaimed steel.
So Venkat, my question is, I understand that, look, the industry needs to move to much more recyclable materials and more environment friendly material. Is it a more expensive process, or is it just an ennui from developers of not moving? Is going green and sustainable actually expensive? Do you need tax breaks on it?
Yeah, indeed it's going to be expensive, and therefore definitely we need support, subsidy and tax exemptions from the government. They have to handhold and they have to ensure that this transition is smooth, and we are incentivized to move from conventional method to new ways of construction and using of renewable materials.
Okay, Anuj, I know that sustainability was actually amongst your top 3 on the wish list. I said, let's come to it after the break. What do you think the budget can do, and what do you think the industry must do by itself? It does not need any green incentives to do it.
So, Manisha, 2 parts to it. One is that buildings do contribute 1/3 of the global greenhouse gases. So, it's a big contributor to the greenhouse gases, and construction sector alone in India contributes 22% of this. So clearly that needs to be addressed. More so, what we've seen in the pandemic, health has become a priority, particularly indoor air, and the overall quality has become a big priority from sustainability. On the office side, Manisha, the occupiers are very, very, very knowledgeable. And, they want to move into buildings which are more sustainable, platinum rated, gold rated, and we've seen that. On the residential side, it's amazing. In the last 2 years, post-pandemic, we've started to see the home buyer now starting to ask for more sustainable buildings. And my thought is that if this continues, then the developer and the building industry will be forced, just the way that they have been forced on the office side, because the office occupier is asking for green building. Similarly, if this continues, the home buyer asks for more sustainable building, you will see more sustainable buildings on the residential. As far as prompting and getting the momentum going I certainly think that there will have to be tax breaks that will need to be given by the government, so that prompts the developers to start delivering more smarter and more greener buildings.
Mr. Hiranandani, you agree that it's really a demand pull which will anyhow force the residential sector to go green? You really don't need anything from the government, or do you believe that perhaps directionally the government, if they started out by giving, lots of states do give extra FSI for green projects, but maybe the central government can signal something stronger with its intention of helping the built environment go green, doing something?
So, Manisha, you're absolutely correct. We do need some tax breaks, because ultimately that can be the kind of trigger point which will enable more people to take up the issue completely. In Maharashtra, we have taken up the issue with the state, and they had suggested that they would give a rebate in property taxes for 10 years or so, but that has not yet been implemented. We are working down to put it to Mr. Aditya Thackeray, our environmental minister, in order to actually see that that provision or suggestion which was given could be available to it. Once that happens, automatically the buyer will definitely demand, because he will get a 10-year rebate in his municipal taxes, which we'll pay for the next 10 years. So this would be a big benefit that we have done. Number 2, some sort of marketing and selling the idea in terms of materials has been suggested very beautifully, that we can suggest do this thing and pass it on, this information to the buyer, which is now becoming quite sensitive to the idea. So some sort of marketing needs to be done at the level of Naredco, of Credai and others, in order to actually sell this green building concept. We're already doing it. Many others are doing it, but I think we need to do more.
Anuj, I was just thinking about it. I know this whole GST aspect is very thorny, and the developers have been saying, if you are giving us 1% for a GST of under construction affordable homes, just bring everything else at par and not keep it at 5% for under construction homes. What about a simple thing for the GST Council? Leave it at the table on that look, if it's a really platinum rated green residential project, then you get 1%. It's equivalent to what you get in terms of GST for under construction homes. I think that could be a game changer.
What a great thought, Manisha. What a great thought. Or you give input credits.
Yes.
Then, because, as Venkat was saying is correctly, that there is a very steep price rise that has happened, in commodities like steel, and the GST that you're paying on those, you're not getting any input credit. So you're absolutely right. Is, either that comes to 1% or for platinum rated buildings, we will give you the full input credit.
Yes, I think, gentlemen, we'll wrap out there because I'm hoping that at least the last suggestion for platinum green rated residential buildings does come through, if not in the budget at some point, because that's going to be critical for us to get to that net zero ambitious target. Mr. Hiranandani, Anuj Puri and Venkat, thank you very much for joining me today. As always, it's a pleasure to have you gentlemen with me here on NDTV 24/7. Well, it's a goodbye from me. Let's hope the sector is not disappointed too much, and at least a few on the long wish list from the sector do find their way into the Finance Minister's speech on 1st February. Goodbye.